Okay, I'm still showing off air.
It's live.
We're live.
I'm still showing off air. But my chats are very delayed. Okay, so I'm going to ask, can anybody hear me? That's how we'll start. Yay, Nancy says we hear you. Arkansas, South Carolina, Maryland. Bob's up in New York. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to have a much more intimate group tonight. Looks like somebody's raising their hand. Maybe that's just if they can hear me. We're going to have a much more intimate group tonight, but that's good. And we're going to call you out. We're going to have you interact with us. First of all, I want to welcome everybody and thank you for hanging with us last week and coming back to join us tonight. Hopefully, you'll get even more value out of this week's presentation than you did last week. So for those of you who missed last week, welcome. We are looking forward to helping you open up your mind a little bit and start to think a little bit differently, because that's really what our goal is, to help you realize that a lot of things that you've thought all your life might not actually be the truth. I'll just say it like it is. It might not be true, the things that you think. And the slide that you see on your screen, I chose that picture on purpose. So what I'd like for you all to do is kind of look at that slide, stare at it, just focus on it for a minute, and tell me if your brain is telling you that that's moving. How many of you would say that you see that red pinwheel spinning in a clockwise direction? Hi, Christina. Hi, Greg. So I want y'all to. I want some feedback. Is that pinwheel spinning? Do we have some fancy software going on where I've got a little video going in that pinwheel spinning? That's what it looks like, right? But sometimes our brain thinks things that aren't actually accurate. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to talk about some things that we've been taught. It's not, there's no fault of our own that we've learned things incorrectly. The things that we've been taught, we're going to kind of flip some of that on its head. And what we're going to do tonight is going to be a little bit different. We're going to pretend like we're all in a room with you. We're going to pretend like you're in front of us and we are presenting to you as if we're right there. However, you do have some limitations with the webinar, so we can't see you. The only thing that we can get interaction from and energy back from is the chat box. So please interact with us. When we ask questions, answer them. We're going to say raise your hand. You don't have to use the hand raising thing. Say yes. What I want to do is ask, first of all, Nikki, I want you to change, let's go to the next slide. Here's another picture. How many of you have seen personally some of this sidewalk art? How many of you think that's amazing, that somebody could paint that and make it look like that on a road?
Mm-hmm.
It's can be very deceptive, right? Again, what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of these things, and we're going to use what we call accelerated learning. So when we ask you to repeat something, repeat it, right? Even though we can't hear you, it's not a room full of people. When we ask you to repeat something, we just want you to repeat it and give us some feedback. First of all, what I want to do is take a little bit of time, if it would be okay with y'all, take a little bit of time, introduce myself, tell you who I am, and then allow Dr. Gates to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her story. Would that be okay? And Nikki, you can go to the next slide. The other thing that we have a little bit of a challenge with is delayed response. When you've got internet connections, you may see things go a little bit slower. If you look at those pictures, many of you know me personally, some of you don't, but if you look at those pictures, that first picture back in 1999 was when I was still very unhealthy. I didn't know I was unhealthy. Just in a place where I thought I was doing the right things because I was doing the things that I'd always done. You know, we grow up doing things. We eat foods that we ate when we were younger just because we are. Even the way we cook things a lot of times is based on how we were raised, and we do the best that we know how to with the information that we have. And in 2001 is really when my health journey started. We had started making some changes. In 2001 is when I was really challenged with some major health obstacles. I was, what can I say, have to be compliant, so I can't really get too much into it, but I would wake up in pain, I would go to bed in pain. I hurt like I had been beat with a baseball bat. Just very debilitating. And I was literally praying that God would take me out with a Mack truck. That's where I was. And instead, God had a purpose for me, and I learned some things that totally changed my life. Just simply things about nutrition. And many of you on this webinar have experienced Moringa's nutrition. At that point in my life, I didn't know what Moringa was, but I learned a lot about how the body worked, and I've been able to use that and apply that with the nutrition that we have through Nija to be able to help a whole lot of people. And I like to say that I'm unaging. Literally, I feel better than I did when I was in my 20s. Along my journey, I became a certified weight management coach, and I found that really it's not about weight management. It's about teaching people how to be healthy, how to provide their body what it needs, and when you do, weight release is a side effect if that's what it needs. I've had people say, well, how do I gain weight? I need to gain weight. Again, it's just about being healthy. When your body is healthy, the side effect will be weight release. And so that's my passion. It's what drives me. I am sharing and teaching at every opportunity that I have. I love the fact that we can do webinars. And I am so incredibly excited to be partnering with Dr. Gayla Gates. She has an incredibly phenomenal story. And I'm going to let her share it with you. But I'm just really excited to be partnered with her in the Metamorph You coaching program and to know her. And she's just a delight and a joy, and she's an incredible coach. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Gates, and let you share a little bit about you.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I can hear myself, so I'm sure there's a little feedback, so somebody can hear me. All right, well, thank you, Dee.
I can hear you.
All right, thank you for that introduction, and to hear someone you really care about and work with say something so nice about you, it just makes you blush, and I'm grateful for that. And also, I just want to ask everyone if it's okay if I be a little vulnerable. As we're talking a little bit about change in my story, I want to be vulnerable with you. I'm sitting here in my white coat in what looks to be, an official capacity, and I am. But I'm also just a person, just like everybody here. I just happen to have trained for several years, formally to take care of people. So I have this fancy Dr. Gates, title, but honestly, I'm just like everybody else. And for me, honestly, when I was a little one, I knew I was put here to heal people. I told my mom when I was like 3-4 years old that I wanted to be a doctor. And I was grateful because I had family support that allowed me to actually do that. And I went on to medical school, worked really hard, went into family medicine. And that's when I started experiencing some serious disconnects with what I was created for, what I wanted to do, and what we're really doing in medicine. I found myself writing pills all day or talking about side effects of pills, and everything was around billing, and the people just seemed to be left out. So I began becoming very stressed. How many of you guys can relate to being on a job or in a career where you really love what you're doing, but the environment doesn't allow you to be creative and have fun and be your fun self? And so that's what was happening to me. So I stress ate. We ate all kinds of junk in residency because if you're working 80 hours a week, well, guess what? You tend to crave carbs. And I gained over 50 pounds during my journey. And it wasn't until 2014, which you can see this pink dress up here in the back. You can see a blue tarp on the upper left-hand portion of the pictures here. And that was because I had buried my mother to a debilitating disease. And that was the picture at her funeral. And I told myself, I said, you know what? This is it. Enough is enough. So I set out on a journey. And that journey led me to a personal development program. And that's where I met Dee Dee, and I got introduced to Zija. I don't think I was necessarily depressed, but I was energetically drained. I mean, how many people on the webinar tonight can relate to just being completely wore out, exhausted, and just needed a change? So, I started using our products, the Zija products. And at the time that Dee Dee and I met, we knew we would be working together. And when she asked me to start coaching, I was overwhelmed with joy because I could finally talk to people and keep it real and actually help everyone get better in ways that I feel like we should be doing in medicine. So throughout those changes, a lot of spiritual work. I've released over 35 pounds and I'm counting down because I have a goal. And you can just see the joy throughout these photographs. And I'm just grateful to be here tonight. I hope I can teach you a lot and that you will have fun. And that's my story. So I'll turn it back over to you, Dee Dee. I appreciate you so much.
Okay. Thank you for that, Gayla. Like I said, I'm just really excited to have you on board. It's been so much fun, and I know we're just going to continue to have fun changing people's lives. And tonight, one of the things that I want us to think about is what is it that we want to be good at? What is it that we want to excel at? What is our passion? What drives us? Maybe if we are really blessed, it's our vocation. Maybe we have things that we really want to do. Maybe we've got grandchildren and we want to be able to play with our grandchildren. We want to have flexibility, the health. We want to be able to do things, and we want our life to continue at a level of vibrance and vitality that we remember when we were younger. I think we lost the slides with Nikki. But the slide that she had up, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Success leaves clues. And I want you to think about who is the most successful person that you know, and it can be, and they have to be alive, somebody that's still alive, somebody that's successful. And I want you to just type that in the chat box. Who can you think of? And it can be somebody very personal to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's famous. But I want you to type in the chat box. Somebody, just stop for a second and think about somebody in your life that you view as being very successful. I'm going to wait, get some feedback, give you a few minutes to think about that and type that out. So we have just a small group who holds you accountable to interact with us. Okay, about who in your life you would consider successful. I want you to think about what they do to take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that's behind the scenes, right? We don't see people working out. One of the things I love about the leadership at Zija is they walk the walk. They don't just talk about it. You see them working out. You see them working on an active lifestyle. And I want you to think about that person in your mind's eye you see as successful, and know that they put in a lot of back-end time taking care of themselves. And a lot of people think that it's selfish to take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. And I would disagree. I would say that it is the most selfless thing that we can do. Because who of us want other people about to have to take care of us because we can't anymore? Because of, I don't think any of us would say that. And I would also say that none of us can be the best at whatever endeavor we're attempting without doing a really good job taking care of us. Because it's our flesh that slows us down. It really is our flesh that slows us down. So I love this quote by Brian Tracy. Successful people are simply those with successful habits. And that's really what we want to help you do, is start habits. Change all your habits overnight. Nobody just flips a switch and turns into a whole different person overnight. They just don't, unless there's some catastrophic lifestyle event that causes them to do that. And that happens on occasion, but we don't want that to happen to you. We want you to take baby steps, because that's the way to make it stick. That's the way for it to last. And so we're going to teach you a little bit tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about nutrition, because nutrition is really important. Detoxing is a really, really hot topic these days. So we're going to talk about detoxing. And a lot of people think detoxing is a drain. It's boring. It'll make you sick. But we want to make detoxing fun. And that's something else that we'll talk about. And lastly, we're going to talk about what I think is one of the things that sets our Metamorph You coaching program apart from anything else, is that we teach you how to win the brain game. So tonight we're going to share with you some of the things that we have found most successful in helping people to win the brain game. So with that, I'm going to swap back over to Dr. Gates and let her talk to you about a little bit of the things that you have thought that aren't necessarily true about nutrition, and how you can change the way you think. You're going to change the choices you make.
Absolutely. So when we think about nutrition, you really want to think about an analogy. And that analogy is our cars. When you purchase a car, especially a high-performance vehicle, they ask you to put a certain type of gas in the car. And we know if we don't use the proper gas, our engines in the car and everything, it just won't work like it's supposed to. And we sacrifice to do that. But when you think about your own bodies, do we really think about our bodies as a high-performance vehicle? Because that's really what it is. it has to have the proper fuel for it to work properly. Yeah, if you put the wrong octane in your car, you might get there, but you'll be jerking and, and you won't have a smooth acceleration, and your car eventually will break down. Same thing with the body. I mean, I think that's one of the best analogies, because we, especially those of us in the South, we love our cars. And if we love our bodies as much as some of people love their cars, I think we really be doing a great job. And so we want to encourage folks to put the right type of food in the body. We're living in a very fast-paced world. A lot of people are eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a bag or in a box, coming from a fast food restaurant or coming from the frozen food section in a store. And they're assuming that they're actually eating something that's alive, that's going to help them. If you look at the slide, you'll see that all that junk food up there, it may look appetizing. And, if you smell fries cooking, yeah, your nose may start thinking, these things smell good. But, at the end of the day, if that's what we're consuming, we really won't be functioning well. And we really call it a sad diet. We call it a standard American diet. And a lot of people are literally, living this way. And a lot of it has to do with marketing. You turn on your television and there's all types of stuff coming through there. And you hear diets like low calorie, low fat, low carb. Confused is what most people end up being, because they don't know the right way to do this. And we weigh ourselves all the time and thinking that it's just about our weight. And that's not true either. We're more interested in helping people build muscle mass and reducing our fat in our body than to just deal with the actual number. And a lot of times, that's a big change for a lot of people, because we've been taught the total opposite, that, the thinner we are, the healthier we are. But there's evidence that some really thin people are truly they're not healthy. They actually have more fat than muscle, even though they're considered to be small. The other thing we think about is what happens when we don't have the proper nutrition in terms of disease states. What types of illnesses can actually develop strictly directly related to nutrition? And I'd like you to just type in one of those if you can think of a disease state or illness that you can directly relate to nutrition problems. There are several, so just think about it and type something in, and we'll kind of go with what the team says tonight. What are some of the things you can think of? I see diabetes. Excellent choice. Another diabetes. Absolutely. That's one of the biggest problems right now. I think it's almost 1 in 3 Americans, last time I saw the research, I believe, is diabetic or definitely pre-diabetic. What are some other ones? Anybody can think of something else? Heart disease. Just about anything you can think of a lot of times. So what about blindness? The number one cause of blindness in the world is vitamin A deficiency. Vitamin A. You don't really think about that in the United States, right? Because we have all types of foods with vitamin A, but it's still true. Neuropathy. What about that? Having issues with the B vitamins, not eating enough B vitamins, you can cause problems with your nerves. And a lot of times that's because of medicines and other things, but it can also be directly related to nutrition. I see migraines, ADHD, all these are awesome choices. Depression, Alzheimer's. See, the list goes on and on and on. What about eczema? What about skin problems? We're going to talk about skin later on, but truly poor nutrition leads directly to disease. And oftentimes we're putting, prescription drugs on, masking symptoms, which really isn't necessarily helping. And we really believe that the best form of nutrition that we know of is moringa. And everyone here that's been consuming moringa through our Zija family, or if you tried it on, other places, it's truly revolutionized, a lot of what we see in terms of nutrition. And actually it's a convenient way to get it, actually. Very, very, very convenient way. It's got more calcium, more potassium, more protein. Big thing, building blocks for protein. We have to have protein for our muscles, but also for our immune system. Protein can be protective for us. And for those of us that don't eat meat or eat very little meat, moringa is very promising. So for our vegan friends, we want to talk to them and let them know about moringa, because it really truly can add a lot to their nutrition and our nutrition. We talk about our omegas. We need our omega fatty acids. We have that in moringa as well. And not to mention the anti-inflammatory benefits from this plant. So when you think about nutrition, you really want to think about what quality are we putting in the body? Not so much quantity all the time, but what's the quality of what we're putting in? When we talk about the Fatal Five, this is something that we pride ourselves on in Metamorph-U, because these are 5 things, you guys, 5 things that you definitely want to eliminate from your diet. This is where the teaching hat comes on now. So if you have a pen and paper, you want to write it down. You want to be a student. And the first thing would be high fructose corn syrup. If you haven't heard of it, you probably aren't alive. It's all over the place, all over the news. They found ways to hide it. But high fructose corn syrup is definitely in a lot of condiments, breads. You know, it's in salad pickles. You know, it's gonna try to make some dishes with relish. And I'm literally in the grocery store trying to find out how to get rid of the high fructose corn syrup. Artificial sweeteners. Keyword, artificial. If your great-great-grandmother wouldn't recognize it, you don't need it. And all these fake things were not around years ago. So you want to think about that. Artificial colors and dyes, very important. Why do you think the children are off the hook right now? It's too many additives in all of these foods, and many of them are marketed to children. So we can talk about that, and you'll learn a lot more about that in our program. Nitrites, bad things that are in processed meats and things like sausages and hot dogs and things that we really shouldn't be eating anyway. And hydrogenated oils would be the last one. So again, all these things we're going to teach people more and more about, and it's amazing when you just at least eliminate those things from your diet, it will really change the way your body functions actually, and eliminate some of these things that we've all typed in tonight. So that's my part on nutrition. Dee Dee, if you have anything further to add, please take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Gayla. One of the things that I like to help people to really, really think about, I use the car analogy too sometimes, and I just think, you know, my mama calls those, well, my mama thinks I'm crazy. It's my daddy that calls them idiot lights. The lights that come on in your car when something's wrong, right? It's the, you can't miss it. You need to do something about it. Now we have a check engine light. A lot of cars will tell you your tires are low. You need to put air in your tires. But how many of us would actually pay the mechanic if we took our car to the mechanic and said, my check engine light's on? And he said, wait, here, let me get a Band-Aid. I'm just going to cover that up for you. That would be $300, please. Mm-hmm. How many of us would pay that? And honestly, that's what we do when we go to medical and we ask for a pill to cover a symptom. Because high blood pressure is not the problem. Mm-hmm. High blood pressure is the symptom. And so I just say, you know, a lot of times all we're doing is putting a Band-Aid on top of the idiot lights. We're not really taking care of the problem. And so I know that a lot of people do take better care of their cars than they do their bodies. But it's such a great analogy, because we have changed the way we process, because when your car engine blows up, you don't have insurance to replace it. Mm-hmm. But in the health realm, we do. You know, we carry insurance. So if something goes wrong because we've not taken care of it and not done maintenance, we just go get it cut out or we get it replaced. That's what we do. And so we need to change the way we think about things. And one of the things that we all need to realize is that detoxing needs to be a way of life. It needs to be a way of life. A lot of us have experienced the premium tea, the detox tea is phenomenal. It's great. But that's not enough. Detoxing really needs to be a way of life. And one of my favorite anchors, and we're going to talk a little bit about anchors later, but one of my favorite anchors is every bite counts. We are either feeding disease or we're fighting it with everything we put in our mouth. But you know, it's not just what we put in our mouth. It's what we breathe into our lungs. It's what we put on our skin every day. It's more than we have the ability to control ourselves. And so even if we have all the best nutrition, we know we've not had it since birth. We know we're carrying around toxins that have been there since birth. If you've never watched the documentary 10 Americans, you should go look that up. I have it posted on my blog. It's also on YouTube. It's called 10 Americans. And it will just blow your mind. But I promise you, we were all born with toxins. And we carry those around. And detoxing is so important because if we don't detox, then we're setting ourselves up for conditions where those toxins can morph into other things. And they can cause us health challenges. So, Nikki, if you're able to change the slide, if I could get you to do that for me. So what I want everybody to do right now is just in your box, on your chat box, when you hear the word detox or the word detoxing, what's the first word that comes to mind? What do you think about when you hear the word detoxing? How many of you think detoxing is something that's going to keep you in the bathroom all day? Okay, Bob, I lost you with tomato soup. I just have to tell you, I totally lost you with tomato soup. But most of us do. When we think about a detox, we're thinking about what's happening when we detox our colons, right? Because that's we know that what's in there is toxic. We smell it when we go to the bathroom. It just is, and there's no way around it. You have to laugh about it, but it's true. We think about toxins in our digestive system, but we have toxins deposited in all of our body. And it's interesting, the adipose tissue or fat cells are really protecting us a lot of times. A lot of times we're not overweight because we eat wrong. A lot of times we're overweight because we're overtoxic, and our liver says, I got to do something with this. Let me create some fat cells and dump these toxins off so I can continue to do my primary jobs. So it's important that we detox more than just our colons. Fasting is a great way to detox. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but Nikki we were talking about detoxing, and I was trying to make it fun, and you know, it's never fun to talk about poop. It's just not. But it's something that you have to talk about when you're talking about detoxing. And so I was trying to come up with a way for people to remember the different ways we detox. So there's our excretory system, and there's our respiratory system, and there's you know, we've got different systems of the body that help us detox, our lymphatic system. But I wanted to come up with something that everybody could remember. So we have the 4 P's of detoxing. And Nikki made this slide, and I guess she thought it was a joke. I thought it was great. So I have to, can I be honest with y'all? Can I show you how out of the culture I am? When I first saw that emoji, I thought it was soft serve ice cream. So we've got poop. Poop is one way we detox, and then we had to have the alliteration so that you could remember it. Pee is one way we detox. And if you see in that toilet that bright yellow urine, Dr. Gates is going to talk about that, but we hope nobody has bright yellow urine because that's not a good thing. Then we perspire is another way, sweating. And then we exhale. And that's one of the ways that we detox that most people don't realize, that you're detoxing when you breathe. So there's just simple things that we can do to improve our detoxing. One of the reasons yoga is so good for you is because of the breathing techniques that you learn. And you learn how to breathe in and breathe out. And that breathing is something that helps you to detox. We don't deep breathe, and yoga can help you with that. Perspiring, we talk about exercise and how good exercise is for you. We don't usually talk about that it helps us to detox, but it does. So we've got the benefits you get with exercise for increasing your respiratory capacity, increasing your cardiovascular capacity, but it also helps us to detox. And that's why you can see people that are very athletic that don't necessarily eat very healthy, and somehow they get away with it. I wouldn't recommend changing to become, to focus on exercise and not nutrition. I think there's a balance, but that's how they manage, is because they're sweating all the time and they're detoxing out some of the stuff that they've consumed that's bad for them. But I want you to think about some of the ways that you consciously detox. And this is something that, again, it's just a topic you have to talk about when you're talking about health. If you're not eliminating at least twice a day, then you got something wrong with your digestive system. And most people think, that once a week is good. And all that stuff, in an ideal world where we were eating real food, we would eliminate every time we ate. That's what babies do, right? And so these are things that that are important, and it's important to learn detoxing as a way of life. And one of the things that we've done is we've created a program called Detox You, where you can be successful, because a lot of people, somebody mentioned fasting, a lot of people feel like they can't be successful with a detox because it's too rigid or harsh. So we've got different levels. We have the Ubi Newbie level. We just, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I want you to understand that detoxing doesn't have to be laborious. It can actually be fun. And some of the results that we've gotten have just been amazing to me. People have been doing the right things nutritionally for a long time, but they never got the gunk out. And once you're cleansing head to toe, not just colon, but once you do that and you do a good job of it, it can really change the way you feel. So I'm going to let Dr. Gala talk to you a little bit about the second P, and how water can affect that.
Yeah, I think we have another slide here. Next slide. Yeah. So one of the most important things that you can do is to hydrate your body. And if we're not properly hydrated, we won't move toxins out of the body. The blood is about 90% water. And when we don't take in the proper amount of water, we're basically dehydrated every single day. Like, you kind of get behind every day or so. And if you guys could just kind of type and let me know, what percentage of water should one be drinking? How much water should we be drinking? I think most folks on tonight will know this. But, the goal is half your body weight in water, okay? Half your body's weight in water. And it's very important for that, because one important system in the body that some people may or may not have heard of, but may not be able to appreciate, even if they have, is the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is where all those toxins and things, you have lymph nodes all over your body looking for bacteria, viruses, infection, things that don't belong there. All these bad diseases and things, toxins. And if you don't move, it doesn't move. So number one, you got to exercise. If not, you see people who basically have those swollen limbs. You see people who just they look puffy and they look toxic. And some of that is just the lymph fluid in the body that's stagnant like an old pond. And if you don't move, if you don't contract your muscles, then your lymph fluid doesn't move and you will have a trouble getting rid of toxins. And so in order for that to happen, in addition to exercise, is drinking the water we need. And as you can look here, you'll see a slide with the different colors. It's a hydration chart based on your urine. So if you haven't started looking at your urine every day, you definitely want to, because it's going to show you what's going on in your body. The goal is to have a little bit of a straw colored urine. So, you know, around number 3 or so, between 3 and 4, when you start getting in the 4 and 5 range, that yellow urine, which we see a lot because we think that's normal, we really want to almost be clear. And that just shows you that you truly are well hydrated. And that's going to make you detox and make you weight release a lot more efficiently. So, you know, a lot of people carry around those big gallon jugs every day and they kind of mark off what their goals are. That's a great way to get the amount of water in the body. Next slide shows us some additional things about detoxing. And it has to do with our liver. You know, this is one of my favorite organs. You know, I didn't appreciate the liver as much when I was in school as much as I do now. And I love everybody just to kind of appreciate this organ that we all have. It's on the right side of the body underneath the rib cage. And without it, we're doomed. It does all this fancy stuff. I certainly am not going to go through all of this because you all would be asleep. But I do want you to think about everything you can think of, from detoxing to processing medications, the immune system. There's actually immune function in our livers, and it does a lot for us. And when we don't have a good functioning liver, we truly are asking for bad stuff in the body. And until it's cleaned out, if it can be, right, if we hadn't completely destroyed it from medicines, things like Tylenol, alcohol, are truly liver toxic things. And if we can stay away from them, it will tremendously make a difference. Next slide. All right, so here is the doctor in me. I hope I'm not grossing anybody out, but this is what it looks like. If you've ever eaten liver, which, you know, if you have, God bless you. It's not for me, but some people do, and they take it in, and it's okay for them. But it used to freak me out when I was a kid. But I do remember looking at it and remembering how smooth it was and red. And that's how our livers should look. But now we have so much toxins, you guys, that we're developing this ugly middle portion of the slide, the fatty liver. And, you know, it's gross because if you have a sponge, if you guys can think about a sponge in your house, after you've used it, you sit the sponge out and it dries up. And it's hard. You go to use it again, you got to get it wet before you can use it, right? That's kind of what fatty liver looks and feels like. It feels like a dry, hard sponge, and it can't function properly. You can see this on lab work. If you have your labs tested, your AST and ALT levels tested, sometimes it's elevated in fatty liver. And I remember seeing this in young people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s because of all the junk that we're eating. And once this is happening in youth, even little children now having fatty livers, it's scary because they have to make it their whole lives with this organ. And then on the far right, you'll see an enlarged liver cirrhosis. The organ actually gets bigger, and sometimes, I'm not kidding, you can feel a cirrhotic liver all the way down in the bottom part of somebody's abdomen, like near their navel. If they're sick, you can feel that liver all the way down there, and it's a very scary thing. So just wanted you to get an idea of what we are looking at when we don't take care of this organ. Next slide. All right, so when your liver doesn't work, bad stuff happens. And one of the easiest things to look at is the skin. And so Dee Dee's going to talk to you now a little bit more about skinny dipping and how it actually helps to detox the body and give the liver a break.
Well, and I'm looking at our time, and I'm going to speed through this, but if you want more information and you've not heard about skinny dipping before, something that's brand new to you, you can go to soakyourselfslimmer.com, and I've got a lot of information about there. But basically, my liver was not working after my body went into shock. I had a miscarriage, and I was in shutdown mode, and my liver is the most compromised. And so when my liver wasn't working, I had some extra fat tissue that didn't want to go away, and I was unable to get it to budge no matter what I did. And I decided that I was going to follow in Cleopatra's path and bathe in essential oils. And so I developed a detox bath that allowed me to be able to detox at a much higher rate through the skin. That perspiring pee, that's where you sweat. It also was drawing in the essential oils to help the cells detox as well. So that's a picture of Christine. She actually, I think she went from a size 14 to a size 4 in the matter of 6 or 8 weeks, and that's just part of her pictures. But you can see a lot of other pictures, again, at that website, soakyourselfslimmer.com. And how many of you would not like to be able to detox soaking in a tub with the aromatherapy of the most pure and potent clinical grade essential oils you can get your hands on? You get the benefit of detoxing your mind as well, because those oils help you to relax and de-stress. And I mean, I can't imagine anything that would be better as far as weight release goes to be able to soak yourself slimmer. So that's one of the things that I developed kind of as a part of a weight management program. You can't do that in and of itself. You can't use the detox baths and go eat Big Macs and think that you're going to drop the pounds. It's not going to happen. But it really does support your body when you are, a lot of times people get stuck, and most of the time that's from the liver. And so all we did was develop that detox bath to help out with that. Let's see. And then, again, I'm not going to go through the testimonials, but I can tell you there's plenty of pictures on the website. This slide has single dip pictures. These are before and after pictures from just one dip. And the girl down in the far right-hand corner takes the cake, or got rid of the cake, whichever you want to say. She actually lost 4 pounds and 6 inches, and that's not just her waist. She measured her hips and thighs too, but 4 pounds and 6 inches with one dip. And I think she holds the record for results with skinny dipping. But not everybody has those results. Even I didn't have those results. I stuck with it. It took me about 10 weeks. But I was able to release that stubborn weight that wouldn't go anywhere otherwise. Another thing that we mentioned that we're going to talk about, and we're going to kind of speed through this, we're going to talk a little bit about the brain game, because what we think determines who we are. Literally, what we think determines who we are. And a lot of those things have been, they were planted early in our lives as children, as young adults. Some things we have latched onto as we've gotten older. But if you just think about your brain as fertile ground, whatever you plant grows. You can plant good stuff or you can plant bad stuff, and it's going to grow. And I've got the picture of an anchor there, because one of the things that we do is we teach you how to uproot those bad things that have grown, but we also teach you how to anchor in good things. Some people call them tie downs. I like to call them anchors, because to me it creates a really good picture. I think about a ship on the sea and the wind's blowing and the anchor's there and it's grounded, it's not going anywhere. We use anchors to teach people how to make the right choices, to reroute their brain in a way that's going to help them be successful. And I want to just kind of give an example of an anchor that is pretty powerful for people that drink soda. Some of you maybe have heard this before, but I just think it's a powerful picture. And then you can think of other anchors to apply it in all areas of your life. It doesn't even have to be with food and nutrition and the choices you make. The statement that I made earlier, we are either feeding disease or fighting it, that's an anchor. But one of my favorites to use is about Coca-Cola. I don't know that there's anybody that's with us tonight that's a soda drinker, but I know there are a lot of soda drinkers out there. And I know I was once a soda drinker. Yeah, Dr. Gates, it's good to know that we have non-soda drinkers, that they've come that far in their health journey. But some people, even though they do lots of other healthy things, they have this one vice, and it's Diet Coke. Which to me is worse than regular Coke. I hate high fructose corn syrup. I hate aspartame and sucralose more. But even if you're drinking soda, you can get the good stuff, right? That's made with cane sugar. You can get it in a bottle. It's not in a can. All that kind of stuff. You don't have the plastic. Even still, the carbonation is made with phosphoric acid. It comes from phosphoric acid. So a good thing to do for your children who might be tempted by soda is to go buy Coca-Cola, put it in a glass, and drop a chicken leg bone down in that glass. And 3 days later, when you go to pick it up and it flops over because it's totally disintegrated and it's just there's no structure left to it because the phosphoric acid is really eating up that chicken bone, that is a good, solid anchor to help you remember why you don't want to drink soda. And a lot of times those are game changers for people. They've been addicted forever, but all they can do is think about that chicken bone that flopped over when they took it out of the soda. They don't drink it anymore. If you think about soda and the things that our emergency service people use it for, they clean the blood off the streets with Coca-Cola. You clean the battery acid off your the corrosion off your battery. That's battery acid. You can clean that off with soda. It's stronger than battery acid. Those are anchors. So we use anchors. The other things that we use are affirmations. Brian Tracy, that quote earlier by Brian Tracy, he teaches affirmations. And I'll tell you, all those people that are successful that you thought of earlier, if they're in the 5%, if they're top 5% in their field of success, I can guarantee you that they have used affirmations. All your athletes use affirmations. They may not have a formal training on affirmations, but I assure you that they use them. It is a common thing with successful people. And so we teach affirmations and how to make them the most advantageous to you, to make them the most beneficial, because you're not speaking to the part of your brain that thinks when you use affirmations. Dr. Gates, I think, has one of the books that we use in our coaching program. My favorite book, it was my game changer, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. That's another thing that we do in our coaching program, is we encourage you to do some personal development outside of just the coaching, and we go through those books with you and we help to dig out some of those nuggets. Is there anything else that you wanted to add about the brain game, or how we can choose to be successful just by the way we choose to think, Dr. Gates?
I really don't. Crunch for time. I just really want to say it's important. Everything starts in time. And everything is in everything. So if we don't feel good, or if we're not thinking clearly, it will definitely affect you. And we really work hard in our program to help people get away from some of the stuff that we've been taught. I think I remember that it was over 130 times a week. No. By the time you're 18 years old, 100,000 times. No. So I think learning to rewire those things is really, really key. So that's what makes our program different from other programs. So I appreciate that.
Well, and with that, I know we're right at the the 10 o'clock mark, but I wanted to just quickly ask permission if there's anybody that might be interested in learning a little bit more about our Detox You program or the Metamorph You program. We wanted to cover those just really briefly, and then offer you the opportunity, if you're interested, to participate, to join with us. Nikki, if you put that elephant back up, that's really a good slide that I didn't take the time to cover, but I love that slide, and I love what it represents. And what we do, both with the Detox You and the Metamorph You program, really is help you to cut that tie down loose. Elephants can be contained simply with a little rope like that, because they start them out when they're really little, and they tie them down to something that's anchored, that's so strong that those little baby elephants can't pull away. And as they get older, they learn to associate that with what holds them back. And then when they're big and they're way more powerful, you can tie them with, a string to a little post in the ground that you stomped in the ground with your foot, and they'll stay there. And I think we're stuck where we are a lot of the times because we need the education and we need the help to learn how, like you said, to rewire. And so if it's okay with everybody, we'll just take just a couple of minutes to talk about our programs and then offer you some special offers. These are some slides that we added in that I didn't get a chance to tell Nikki exactly where to put them, but we say you have to see it to believe it. We teach you how to believe it so you can see it. That's what we teach you. But Dr. Gates, if you'd like to share with them just a little bit about what we decided to do with Detox You, and then I'll just talk a little bit about the Metamorph You program and what we can offer tonight.
Sure. Next slide. Detoxing. Great topic. So Detox You is a really good program because it's a good introduction to a change. And there should be another slide showing a little bit more about what the program has. So yeah, the Detox You program, we will actually be having an ebook for folks to utilize throughout the program. We have a private group which will also help folks, really connect. And, when you have a team, you're able to get through this sometimes much more efficiently. And the value of that group alone is $100. Normally the Detox You program is only $10 for one to get started. But tonight, because you all have been here and you hung out with us and learned a lot tonight, we had a special offer for you. And you're going to get Dee Dee and myself, which truly is over $175 in value just because of the expertise that we'll be able to share with you individually to help you on your journey. And with this program, honestly, looking at the price is amazing because the value is over $300 in value, but tonight we're offering it for $50. So I can't imagine I wouldn't take it if I were in your shoes, but it's really going to help you and others. So for those of you on tonight, the special tonight is only $50 to work with us and get you started on our Detox You program. But Metamorph You has a lot more to offer, and Dee Dee's going to talk a lot more about Metamorph You and how awesome that program is too.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Gates. Nikki, if you want to put up the Metamorph You slides. And we can start with a couple of the testimonials if you want to. This is one that I really, really appreciate because we don't just coach people who want to release weight. We coach people that want to learn how to be healthy and how to take care of themselves. So she's a cancer survivor. Metamorph You created a paradigm shift in the way I perceived the meaning of health. Formerly, I didn't appreciate the amount to which we are responsible for everything that occurs within us. I was a victim of the media, the food industry, and the medical system. Not anymore. Metamorph You has changed that forever. And I want to tell you, that's one thing we will definitely expose and uncover. You won't be deceived anymore by the media or the food industry or the medical system through if you join the Metamorph You program. We uncover all the lies and all the things that we've been taught for so many years, that even the things that we think are healthy, a lot of people think agave is healthy. We'll teach you different. It's, there's just so many things that we've been deceived through marketing, and we're going to uncover some of that. Next slide, Nikki. And there's so many testimonials. I'm not going to read through them all tonight. I'll let you read that one really quickly. And then I want to just share with you a little bit about what we cover. We're going to spend up to an hour with you, Dr. Gates and I, on a personal consultation, just getting to know you, getting to know what it is you want, so that we can tailor this program for the participants. If we were to do this program as a personal coaching program, it would be so much more expensive. Nikki, if you want to just move on to the next slide. And I used to do personal coaching, but I don't do that anymore because I really feel like the group coaching is much more beneficial. So we have that 1 hour consult with the coaches. You'll have 12 weekly coaching calls, and those are also all an hour long. If you were to go out and look at some of the other programs out there, what I did was I took some of the more conservative prices. 12 weekly coaching calls for most coaching programs, you're going to pay about $3,000. We add in webinars, and we've got a whole host of webinars that we've done in the past that are going to be available, and we'll continue to do webinars. Those are all included. We have a private group on Facebook, which is included. You'll be able to have access to all the recorded calls to download, to listen to them later. We're going to throw Detox You in for free. Not only that, to add to this slide, something that Dr. Kayla and I talked about today that we just decided on, we're also going to throw in Jumpstart You for free. So that's the Metamorph You program. That program, the value is over $4,000, but that's not what we charge. We don't charge. It doesn't even cost you. It's a tenth of that if you do that whole program and just go to our website. But tonight, for those of you that are with us, you have the option to do just our coaching program. You'll have the Metamorph You program. You'll have the Detox You program, and you'll have the Jumpstart You program added in. And we're offering that tonight for $400. If you happen to have a friend that would like to join with you, we can set up a payment for you so that each of you can get another $100 off of that. You would each pay $300 a piece. We've never done that before, and we'll just kind of play it by ear and see how it works. We may never do it again, but for this coaching group this fall, that's what we're going to do. We may even add in a couple of extra coaching calls because we want it to go to the end of the year. We want you to have Christmas and Thanksgiving covered, so we may be adding in a couple of extra ones. And then the other option, and if anybody wants to take advantage of the coaching program to get it all for $400, go ahead and click on that now, because I'm fixing to pull that offer down and give the last of our offers. And this is really the best deal if you're not already using ZJ's Nutrition. We feel like ZJ's Nutrition is the best there is, bar none. We didn't really get a chance to talk about that tonight, but it truly is a life-changing opportunity to use those products. And what we've done is we've basically put it all together for people that aren't already using ZJ's Nutritionals. We put together personally for you, we hand select the products that are best for you, and the value of that program, Nikki's working on it, the value of that program is going to be $5,400. because we're going to supply you with 3 months worth of product. After that 3 months, if you want to continue to use it, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too. But we will include that as a part of the package. You'll get all the other stuff that we talked about. The value of that package is $5,400. We don't even have a regular price. It's not even on our website because we've never done it before. But what we're going to offer tonight is that whole package, including the nutrition, for just $1,000. So those are the different offers that we have. If you have any questions, please be sure to reach out to us. We want to thank you again. We want to honor your time. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Dr. Gala, did you have any last words to add?
I just want to say thank you. I'm extremely grateful to have been here and to share with everyone tonight. I think this last offer is amazing, just looking at it, because, you know, when can you get good nutrition and a whole 3 months of help with that in the comfort of your own home, on your own time? You can read, you know, listen to all this knowledge. It's just knowledge on top of knowledge. And I'm so excited to be a part of a team that offers something affordable like this for people. And the results we've seen with the people we've worked with in the past is really making it worthwhile for me as a physician, because I actually get to see people get better for the first time in a long time, truly make big changes. So I'm grateful, and I hope everyone learned a lot tonight. And I mean, that's just it. We'd love to have you with us.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Everybody that attended the webinar, everybody that registered for the webinar will get a replay. So if there were some things that you missed, you'd like to hear it again, you'll get a replay in your inbox. It may not be there right away. It may take us 24 hours or so to get it edited to send that out. But thank you all for joining us, and y'all all have a great night.